This isn't your MapQuest or your Google Maps. This is El Profenito.
Hola, hola. I am Elsa, la original, the OG here at Si Se Puede.
Me? Oh, so guys, it's Freddie. Welcome back to another podcast. It's popping.
And this is Batmanny Emmanuel Lopez,
What's up? It's your boy Jake the Snake, the goat, graduated.
back with another episode of Molcajete Flowers.
I'm the only Lopez here, so.
What are you talking about?
Awkward.
You got 3 Lopez in the space?
Yeah, I'm so
Started things off congratulating our GED passer here, Jake. Congratulations. He is now officially a GED certified individual.
Yes.
sir.
Yep.
Just came straight off of GED's math subtest. A little brain fried, but congratulations.
I don't know what building I'm in. We're still trying to figure that out, but we'll see what happens.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only are you graduating today, but this weekend you will be leaving Seattle. So that's why this week's episode we'll be talking about Nomadsland. Nomad, always moving around, never living in one place. Many of us here have moved or are planning on moving and have not stuck around with our
Hometown?
hometown. Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
much hometown, yeah.
Yeah, so how is it feeling? The move happening soon, the GED graduation happening?
I mean, overall, it's pretty good. I mean, for the most part, when I have moved in the past, I moved around 7 times, but I've pretty much stayed in Washington, like Lake Tapps in Des Moines, just in between there. But this time, I'm going to be moving out of state to Texas, pretty far into Texas. It's Copper's Cove, right next to Fort Keeling. It's right next to all the big cities in Texas. So, I mean, that's something I can do is go down every other weekend and just kind of explore. But yeah, exciting new things, and yeah, like you said, a little brain fried from the test. Still trying to figure out how I'm feeling about it, but all I can tell right now is I'm excited. So.
Nice. And have you been to Texas before? You live there?
Yeah, I did a little bit of a test run a couple years back for about like a little under 6 months, I believe. Can't remember; it's been a while, but I loved living there before. I lived in a similar area again with my sister. And it was really fun. I got to spend a lot of great time with my nephews and my family. And I overall just got to experience a lot of fun. And I'm very optimistic and I'm very excited to move back down there.
What are you most excited about?
I think I have a top 3. So for number 1, it's like that family aspect, being around the kids, my nephews and my niece. And then also like being able to spend time with my brother, and we're going to be working out, doing kind of brother bonding stuff. And then also the aspect of being able to continue to save money for my future and all the big plans I have for it. So I think all that combined creates a very nurturing environment, a very safe environment where I can continue to hone my craft and continue to push towards my goals. And that's something that I'm super excited for and something that I'm extremely, extremely thankful for. So that's basically how I'm feeling about the move.
About some of us who have moved, were we enthusiastic? Were we scared? Excited? And where'd you move to and from?
Well, for me, I'm originally from Los Angeles, California. I was born in Mexico, but pretty much since I was 2 up until 28, I was living in LA and moved out here to Washington State in 2016. And it was not the best circumstances for my move. I never even knew where Washington was. I just had an aunt that was moving up here back in LA. I had just graduated college. I was working at a restaurant. I was trying to find employment in like my career field, and I made more as a server than I did in the fields that I was seeking. So I was also in a space where I just needed to leave the environment because it was not healthy for me, because I was in an unhealthy relationship. So I just needed to get out of the space that I was always in. So my aunt invited me to move up here to Washington, and I was like, well, what do I have to do? I don't have any kids. I'm not like working in a professional career. I could like pick up and go. And yes, most of my family is here in LA, but I'm in a space where I just need to get away and take care of me and figure things out for myself. So it was definitely scary. It was an unknown. It was also giving me flashbacks because my mom moved to the U.S. when I was 2, right? So she immigrated and she had no idea, didn't know the land. So I was kind of having flashbacks of like, or putting myself in her shoes when I was moving up here because I was like, oh man, I'm going to the state. I don't know anybody. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So it was definitely scary for me. I don't know how it was for the rest of you.
Yeah, I would say kind of similar to what Jake was saying. I've only really moved around Washington, so I'm Washington boy through and through, born and raised. Haven't made too many big moves outside of Washington, but born and raised in Central Washington, small town called Quincy. Didn't move out until I was 18 to go to college, which was out in Spokane, Washington. So that was the big first major move in my life when I was leaving off for college. And then about 5 years ago now, I moved from Spokane over to the west side of Washington, now located in Kent. So I've gotten to see every section of Washington that it has to offer, and each one has been a very unique experience, I'd say for sure.
My move, I'm also from Los Angeles. I grew up in South Central, and I think that's why education always became important to me because it was my ticket out. So, if you're from LA or know from LA, I born and raised in South Central, and then moved to Westwood, and that's already two different identities in itself. After Westwood, then I moved to Mokpo, South Korea, for a year and a half. Decided just out of a whim and just did it. After Mokpo, South Korea, I ended up in Seattle, Washington, and I was only up here once before. So I'm also in this nomad mentality. I don't feel boggled down to a certain place. I'm able to get up and move and don't feel like tied down to things. And, but I don't know. I think that I don't know if it comes, from learning your Latinidad, that, as indigenous people, we kind of move around and that's kind of part of our culture. So I'm like, maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just doing like my ancestral duties of like, not feeling tied down to a spot, for me personally. And then some of us are thinking and planning on moving.
Yeah. I'm planning to move next year, 2024. I'm looking at places right now. But I'm pretty scared, leaving my mom behind. I think she's going to stay with me. I don't know. We're still talking about that, but being on my own, being in LA, when I'm older by myself, it's a big game changer because I'm always by myself. There's nobody around me, to take care of me. So I'm just like, can I do this by myself, or like, do I like need to hire somebody else, or I don't know what to do. So like, that's why I have fear of like moving. But me and Steve are just, we're getting a financial person to like figure out the funds and all this stuff to get a good house that has a lot of rooms, because I do want to have a lot of rooms, stuff like that. A lot of bathrooms, a pool in the back, a movie theater room. I want to have all that because growing up, I always moved around. I never had to stay at home until back when I was in 8th grade, and that was like the time I was like, yeah, this is really home. But I just wanted to do, have the inner child in me come back and be like, yeah, this is my actual like dream house. That's the beauty of that. So I am planning to move soon, pretty soon, in December or next year early, and be there and just chill.
I always think of it as very exciting. I don't know. I feel it exciting. I know other people's for moving is very stressful.
No, I'm excited.
I enjoy change, and I love big like shifts like that.
Of course.
So that for me is exciting.
I'm excited. I'm gonna build this whole house. I'm gonna put like arcades, have a basketball net, inside the garage. Just stuff like that. Just stuff that.
I feel like going back to the comment you made about like being excited for that move, I feel like the dual perspective of like, I was excited when I knew I was leaving Quincy to go to Spokane, but then like immediately before, I want to say like the 2 weeks before, I instantly started regretting it and was like, should I leave? What if I stay? I could go to like the community college right next door. Like, I'm not thinking that this is the right move as much as I'd been telling myself that is what I wanted. So it's like that moment of like, now I'm starting to create self-doubt definitely kicked in. And it was the same thing like coming from Spokane to over here. I was like, I'm a homebody. I set roots, and so exactly what you were mentioning before, I'm like, that's me to a T. I do like finding a place and then making that place home. And so leaving does become hard. I do have an excitement and like an aspect where I'm like looking forward to that next chapter. But there is also a part of me that's like, what am I leaving behind? So that definitely came to fruition a lot.
I feel that when I moved to Washington, yes, it was scary, and when I drove up here, I didn't even unload because I never knew what Washington looked like. I was definitely culture shocked from going from LA and like seeing all these Mexican stores, and everywhere you turn around, people speak your language, eat your food, and I was like cold feet. I didn't even unload my car, like take everything. I even flew back to LA thinking about going back, and then I went back and I was like, man, like, yeah, it's cool here, but it's so easy to just go back and stay in this comfort zone, right? So then I was like, nah. And then I got a little excited of what could be my life in Washington. And I didn't know what it was, what I was doing, where I was going, but it definitely, like, having to step back into what I lived and then coming back like that, like, as I was as hesitant, like that just led to excitement of what could be and where I will be or what I could do up here. And I think, so I definitely felt different emotions. But when I got the excitement, I was like, no, let's do it. I got nothing to lose. I'm here to stay, and I'm here. I don't know if I'll move. Can't say that I won't, or because you never know what could happen or where life takes you. But right now, I'm happy where I'm at, for sure.
What's your dream's house? That's what I was going to ask you. Like, what is your dream home that you guys could just be like, this is my home and this is what I'm going to build from ground up?
Honestly, I feel like going back to the nomad capacity, like part of me just wants to rent an RV type place and just move it around. Like it would be cool, like in that sense, to like be able to see different places, go to different things. But that's like a very like adventurer's mindset for me. I think if I was thinking of like my home, like something out in the country, kind of distant from people, but also like close enough where I can get what I want. It sounds weird because I'm a social person, right? But I feel like as far as like my living space, like I would like that like feeling of back home is like that. Like the Quincy area like is very small, and there's a lot of country. So it's like that nice feeling that you can like drive out like a couple miles and not see anyone else. It kind of becomes like your space.
It's kind of scary though.
It is. I feel like if you haven't lived in it, but if you've lived in it, I feel like it becomes normal to you to like not have people that close.
It feels like The Mist, or like something scared. You know what I mean? You're seeing people for like miles and miles and miles.
Yeah.
You're just thinking like, oh my god, I'm about to get murdered or something's gonna bad happen.
But I guess as like someone who's like not as social, I would see that more as like social opportunity, because I'm like, well, I guess we're the only two people out here, so we have to talk. So I think in like my case, I like a place that has like walkability. Okay. Like I like walking to the grocery store and like doing my errands, going to restaurants and bars, and not having to drive. Coming from LA, where that's where you always do. Then I came to Seattle and lived in South Korea, where things were convenient. I could go do stuff, but because there was people, like I didn't feel like I have to have a full-on conversation with people. There were so many people, too. So I'm like, I also see the flip side of things, where I'm like, when you're the only two out here, what choice do you have? But to like, I have to talk to you. You know, there's no other person out here for a couple miles.
That's good. Yeah, I'm saying that's scary as hell. I'm like, oh no.
The only thing that, in my opinion, kind of like you said, the walkability for Texas, you can still kind of walk to places, but for where I'm at specifically, it's a little bit harder, and the walkability isn't quite there. So having a car is still, it's cool. Like it's, small trips either way, but I'm used to being like down the street from like Fred Meyer, like I was like 7-Eleven, places like that. Like, being able to go to like a convenience store, like going to the gas station, going to the grocery store, like whatever. I was used to being able to like, walk a couple minutes up the road, down the road, wherever. And now it's like, instead of being like a 5-minute walk, it's like a 5-minute drive now. So I will definitely miss that about Washington and where I'm at specifically. But I think what it makes up for in like not being able to have the walkability is how big the stores are. There's a lot of big stores with a lot of like variety down there, like variety, quote unquote variety. But that's something that I think is cool. Like there's a lot of bigger stores, like how here we have like one super Walmart, which is like the big one. There, they like every Walmart looks like a super Walmart. So
Nice.
so that's what I think is cool. Is like a lot of the stores are bigger, like they are quote unquote better in certain ways. But I do lose out on a lot of that walkability and being able to just, go on a walk with my family or friends or just by myself and just, kind of go on a little adventure. But, you win some, you lose some in a sense. It's more of a lateral move than it is an upgrade, in my opinion.
Yeah. I like that too about moving, kind of the adjustment period, right? You're used to things at a certain way, but I think you grow when you get out of your comfort zone or you get pushed. So you're just like, you're used to those things, and now you're like, okay, now I have to adapt to these other
New things,
right?
Yeah.
And they're
That's
like,
what I'm gonna suck.
and when it's in the same country, in the same state, you kind of like culturally it's not that off. But I'm like, can you imagine then when you do go to like a different country, a whole different, right? Because it is culturally different, Seattle to, sorry, can you say the town again?
Coppers Cove, Texas.
Coppers Cove.
Yeah.
There's going to be huge differences, right?
Oh, yeah,
the way
for sure.
people act, the way people
For sure.
behave. And those cultural differences and adjusting
Yeah.
and adapting.
The
The food.
The food.
Yeah, the food's very like it's very similar, but it's more like I don't even know how to say it. Like it's very what you would like stereotypically assume to be like white American food. It's around like there's always gonna be like a roadhouse or whatever or
There's
like
gonna be a lot of barbecue in Texas.
yeah, a lot of barbecue for sure.
Tex-Mex.
Yeah, there is a lot of Tex-Mex too, but there's a lot of that. But there's a lot of like kind of hole in the wall places that you wouldn't expect down there too, that I've seen. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head, but there's a lot of variety there if you look hard enough. So if you really are down to find like a cool Korean joint down there, yeah, like you can really find anything as long as you spend the time. And it might be an hour or two away, it might be like in a freaking basement somewhere, like you'll find it. It's not as diverse here with like the food and the people, I would say. It's a little bit different, but they are there. It's just they're kind of all in their own little communities, or they're all kind of like off like on their own thing.
Starting your new scavenger hunt.
Yeah, it's like
for your good go-to places.
Yeah.
Now. And
Damn.
Gotta set your line
Don't
up.
tell me that.
That's part of
I'm
the
not gonna go
adjusting.
out.
he's just gonna Uber Eats.
I'm gonna get Uber Eats every day. I'm like, yeah. I'm just
Cries in his bedroom.
Si Se Puede Academy is a youth education and empowerment program offered by El Centro de la Raza, a community organization. Si Se Puede Academy aims to support and inspire young people to achieve academic success, develop leadership skills, and become positive contributors to their communities, focusing on promoting cultural pride and fostering a sense of community among its participants. The program provides a range of educational services and activities designed to empower students and promote their personal academic growth. For the most up-to-date information on the program, I recommend visiting El Centro de la Raza's official website or following us on Instagram, ECDLR_Si Se Puede Academy. Once again, ECDLR_Si Se Puede Academy.
So I have a question, I think, relating back to like the concept of nomads and just the knowing that you're in place to place, but also like you're at a place usually for some time, and so you establish either routines or traditions, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's like a walk to a specific grocery store, eating from a specific place, maybe visiting a certain park. Like, what routines or traditions do you all have from any specific places that you've lived? Whether it's an event, a specific place that you like to go to.
I'm probably gonna miss a Piala Fair. I think that's one that established here for me. The Piala, because I don't know if there's fairs in like. I know LA has the Orange County. That's where I want to go. That's where I'm gonna go over there. I heard it was like packed. I don't know. You guys can confirm.
Things are busy down
Yeah,
there.
I don't know if it's packed. I don't know if it's
busy,
packed.
busy. More people.
Can
Yeah.
you tell me more about the fair? I've never been to it.
The Piala Fair?
Never been.
You really?
Really?
I've been there once.
It's really cool. I mean, it is like the biggest fair we have here in Washington, and you could just go on like rides. The big. Have you guys seen the state fair, the big ride? Like
The
you
one that
guys-
goes
you
up
guys-
and down.
It goes up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. It's like
Okay.
it's a good time for you to like, because Wild Waves really doesn't compete to Puyallup Fair.
Wild Waves is on the downfall right now. They
But you know,
are-
Puyallup Fair
they
has like
lost
the,
everything,
if you guys
man.
like rides, I recommend.
When
you
is
guys
it? For,
go.
is that in September? Is it
September?
coming around?
Yeah,
in
it's like
spring.
September, right?
September,
we're gonna have to
spring.
take
Do
it
they
by
open
Noel.
back up?
Yeah, you guys got to go for sure.
I'll be down.
Do they do one in the summer or spring or no?
They're doing it in spring.
Spring?
You guys could go in April.
I do remember hearing about it back then.
Yeah,
I
and they do
wanted to
concerts
go.
there too. Like it's a big like event.
My thing is like, what separates that from any other county fair in the state of Washington? Because we have county fairs back in Grant County that have rides, that have fair food.
I think this one.
Don't they? They
Is it
have.
'cause-
Do they have performers at the other one? Because this one has performers.
They
They
have
have
It's
like
a little
they do
more
mini.
country, you know.
No, this
Oh,
one's
never
less
mind.
country
Yeah.
because they have like the comic, like kind of like a mini Comic Con there sometimes. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
you
remember
can
that.
go check it out.
They
It's
also
the
do.
element of it being one, it's the state fair, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two,
So,
it's probably the biggest one.
Yeah, pretty
and
big.
everybody goes, and it's super packed.
Okay.
Not super packed.
Not everybody.
Not super packed.
Not Nito.
I've probably only been to LA County Fair like once.
Once?
Got a turkey leg.
Okay.
That also becomes like one of those things. I think that's like, what type of traditions do you enjoy, right? I'm like, I used to grow up going to the fair all the time. Now, probably not my choice of activity.
What?
Not my choice.
I try to avoid like now bigger crowded events things. Or I'm not like as
I'm not even-
jazzed up for it as I used to be.
Yeah.
Like
I
the
think-
Sea Fair this weekend, I'm like, no. Like I'm just like avoiding Seward Park. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not trying to go over there.
Let me hit up a bookstore.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like chill at a chill
Yeah.
bookstore.
Yeah, just get some coffee.
That's what I would
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Get a coffee.
Yeah, get a coffee, get a little some snack, and just bring it. Yeah, I mean,
When I think about traditions, the only thing that's coming to mind is like traditions of like restaurants I used to go to. Like for every birthday, my familia always gets like a cake from Porto's Bakery. It's a Cuban bakery out in Glendale. They have
God.
several. Yeah, and they have one in Downey now.
give me a map.
Burbank, and it's delicious
I think I
Cuban
gotta come,
bakery.
too.
So whenever it was somebody's birthday, we would always buy a fruit tart from there. So now when we came to Washington, it was kind of like, where do we buy the cake? Because we don't know. And in fact, I think we ended up now what we do is like Cheesecake Factory, right? And just buy a cheesecake. But back in LA, it's always Porto's cakes. And I still try. Like I got in last year. Was it last year? I think last year I started sending them. Whenever it was somebody in LA's birthday, I started doing Ubering them a cake from here, and it was like, and I try to do that for them so they can still have the cake, although they can access it at any time and go get it themselves. But I just, the action and still trying to keep the tradition because I would usually be the one buying the cake anyways. So I still try to do that. So I wish I could Ubering myself one up here, but I can't.
Can you ship order one?
Yeah.
Free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoy myself a good like coffee shop nearby, for sure. The go-tos.
Yeah.
Like right now, I go Espresso Sisters. You know, the little roundabout on the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
Like a little small Palm and Pops coffee shop.
Professor likes. He told me we were walking. I was like, "What coffee do you get?" I was like, "I want to get some coffee in LA." He's like, "Yeah, I just get black coffee." I was like, "Oh yeah, no, never mind."
I just get an iced Americano,
Yeah, I
no
was like,
sugar,
just
Straight
no milk.
beans. You know?
Yeah,
Yep,
I was like,
yep. I love
"Ugh."
espresso over ice.
I
I,
can't do
I
it.
enjoy the taste
Yeah.
of coffee.
Yeah.
So I'm like, for me, that's it.
It's like heaven.
Yeah.
Has
Yeah.
this been you all the time since you were young, or did this happen as you got older?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Like I don't. Yeah, because I wasn't always like a milk fan anyway to begin with,
Okay.
so I just avoided like any like cow milk.
You
And
know,
then,
like the half and half.
and then the sugar, no.
No.
And then sugar is when I would put sugar, I would feel like a crash after, like the sugar crash.
It makes you tired.
And then so I think I just got used to it in college of like getting the job done, like waking
Straight,
up.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, give me straight, just
Straight from
espresso,
the
just
pot.
straight.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just I need something to keep me going.
Why imagine you just grab the mug and just drinking straight down the gullet? dude?
But it needs to be iced. It needs to be cold though.
Yeah,
I
I do like-
even
I-
in
yeah.
middle of winter, iced coffee.
Yeah, iced coffee's always good. Yeah. Oh, I forgot another one. Leavenworth. That's what I'm gonna miss too. In the holidays.
Oh, Leavenworth?
Yeah, Leavenworth.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna miss.
Do you have a tradition with your family that you go out there every certain time of
I used
year?
to go
or-
younger. You know, a lot of stuff happened. I mean, December, I got in a car accident last year, so I didn't we didn't go. But yeah, we went like every once a year. So I'm definitely gonna miss that. Leaving. I mean, I hope I don't leave there in December and be like, I can't go. It is not snowing. So I know we get snow here. I know Utah gets a lot of snow too, so I hope we get some snow if I go over there. We go over there.
Texas does stuff. No. I was like, no, right? No,
Texas
hot.
has one weather. It's you're dying. It's like melting. And then it rains sometimes, and when it rains, it's like it's everything. Yes, it's like thunderstorms. It's like it's so bad. It's so bad. I swear. Like the first like thunderstorm I ever witnessed in Texas, literally there were thunderstrikes right in front of our car. Like literally, I could hear the wind banging on the window. I was like, I thought the devil was coming to get me in my sleep. Dude. I was scared.
I one time I was on a road trip with one of my cousins. We went out to the Grand Canyon. Like we just randomly got on the road and just went. So we went to the Grand Canyon and we drove down. She was on her way to Illinois, so she was gonna do the drive anyways, and I was just like, "Well, it's summer, I'm off. Let's just do it." So I went with her, and when we were driving through Phoenix, there was a storm, and I was freaking out because I'm imagining that's how Texas storms are. Like the sirens on the car were like, "Oh, emergency, emergency!" And I was
Okay,
like,
it wasn't that bad. You were in like a
You're in a hurricane.
yeah.
was
You're like we never got any like alarms.
No,
going
there was an
off.
alarm going off in the car. The radios were like, "The storm coming, storm coming." Yes. Yeah, and then it started hailing like rocks, and I was like, "Oh my god, what are we doing?
What were
We
you
have no
saying?
idea where
you
we
didn't pull
are."
over and try to like find some shelter. Were you
We
just
did
off
for
in
a
the
little
middle?
bit, and then we were like, "Oh, we're gonna pass it." It looks like we were like counting every lightning to see how far they were, kind of thing. And I was freaking out. I was like, "I'm gonna die. I'm supposed to come to this rejuvenating road trip so we can like recenter, re-energize." And I'm like, "Look at us now."
You're like
It was-
shivering.
yes.
Like,
I was freaked out.
So are you gonna make that a tradition and do that again with your?
she becomes a storm chaser. Like,
No.
I'll live forever. Like,
Do any of y'all? I know some people have this like tradition of like when coming into new spaces they sage it. Do any of you like have any like either immediate things that you need for your brand new space, or do you like have to sage it or like air? I feel like airing out a space. I don't know, opening up the windows and kind of like, I don't know if it's like the energy or something, but whoever lived there before me, I just kind of like need them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if that's also something like from indigenous culture where we used to like sweep, you know, that's why it's like sweeping is big for like Aztecs. So we used to like sweep to get the spirits out for like cleansing. So I would kind of feel like doing a clean or a sweep kind of and opening things up to like everyone's last like energy, because I don't know what kind of people used to live there, right? I'm like, were they happy go-getters or were they always an argument? Regardless, I'm like, you know, just get out.
Yeah, get out, yeah.
So I'm wondering if like that's what I do. I'm not necessarily sage, but I do something similar of like trying to cleanse the space kind of before I put my stuff down.
I know when I move, I'm gonna get a priest to bless the house and then get everything I need to be okay. Because
Holy water
I
by
do
the
horror
bed.
movies and I know how they turn out, and I ain't gonna be part of no horror movie that's real. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a priest. You know, he's gonna do what you gotta do, and then get stuff slowly. But I'm gonna build a house like the first day. I'm gonna order couches. I don't know what couch I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get probably a pink couch.
Nice.
He's gonna have the
The mattress
Logan
is the
Paul.
first thing.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
not-
Furniture's the
I'll
first thing. Yeah,
I'll sleep on the couch. Like, don't worry.
yeah. I want to get a orange couch. I like bright colors, so I want to build my house, paint the house. I know I want to have a paint person that paints the house. I'm gonna paint the whole house, inside the house, like stuff like that. And every project I make, I want to make like art inside of every project I have done in my career. Because I think I'm staying in a house forever, but I know that's not gonna be the case. Probably gonna be selling the house later down the road, or I could stay there forever. I don't know. I mean, I never know. Probably find a bigger house and have kids. I don't know. Have 11 bedrooms and or just get a mansion in like Italy or something. I don't know.
Soon I'm gonna buy the moon. Like,
No. I mean, I want to be there.
Those that you could buy like mansions and stuff in like Italy actually for like $1 or $2.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
it's not bad.
I mean, it's a lot of upkeep and there's a lot of other money you need up front, but
Yeah. So I definitely want to do, get a priest and do that, and then spill around the house, and that's like the first. And then get my mom to help me clean the house because she cleans houses. So I'm gonna be like, hey mom, I'll pay you this much money if you
I'll
clean
give you a
the
nickel.
house.
I'll let you stay here for free. Come on.
I recently when I moved to the house we're now in Kent, we received sage, and so we were like, let's use it. And this was the first time we'd ever done it, so we looked up how the process should go, understanding that you're like almost like asking as you're saging for the space to be cleansed, like out loud, sort of in a form of manifestation. So that was really cool because I do feel like it felt very grounding. It felt very like, okay, how are we entering a space while asking for this space to care for us, right? Like how we asking for the house to take care of us over the however foreseeable future that will be there and stuff. So the process was really cool. I feel like outside of that, I also do like the windows. Like I make sure like all the stuff is like aired out. And then traditionally, since there's not furniture and things, it's like I put furniture out, test it, and then usually within like a few weeks, we end up moving it again.
Right.
So like shifting things the first few like months
The
is
feng shui of things.
yeah, it's definitely something that I feel like I do in new spaces. Like when I was living on my own, for the first time, I didn't have any furniture. I didn't have anything outside of my mattress. So I didn't have like couches. I didn't have a separate table, anything like that. So I was bumming it with some like lawn chairs and like freaking boxes, you know, like sitting on boxes.
Yep.
And I remember just being like, this is ridiculous. Like this is not how an adult should act. But at the same time, it was like, this is what I got.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make the best of it.
Yeah.
But as you start living, you start accumulating stuff.
Yeah,
And now
exactly,
you're like, where am I
exactly.
going to put all this?
Yeah. I don't want to have too much stuff. That's one thing I don't want. I don't want to have too much stuff. So I'm like, there's no space anymore. I don't know what the hell to put in it. So I just want to have low stuff, like one couch, 2 couches, a couple TVs for each room.
You move, and then that's all impossible to, you know, like
Yeah.
when you
Start bringing
accumulate a
stuff.
lot of stuff and you're moving, that's when you're like, why the hell did I get all this stuff?
Yeah.
That's when you start selling stuff like I've been doing. I've literally been selling stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I can't fit it all in my car.
Look
Yeah.
at the Funkos. I'm gonna give those to like.
That's
Cause
smart.
I have a lot of Funkos in my wall. Jason's seen it. You've seen the Funkos. I'm gonna take those. Those are memories. So
I gave him some more Funkos because I couldn't take him. Like he has like all the like most of the Funkos I
yeah, my
had.
sister took some because she likes the Batman too. So she took some for her room and she has up there. Really nice of Jake. Thank you.
No problem. No problem.
But yeah, I mean, you just build your house the way you want it. And luckily, I got the opportunity to get a house that's it's pretty. I think it's pretty big. And having a pool, hell yeah, I'm gonna be in a pool every day. I'm gonna be swimming every day. Get a gym. I want to get a gym. That's another thing. I want to be fit every day. So I think that's a good thing because I don't have to go to Elite Fitness and go work out. I could have a gym in my own home. I could watch YouTube. I'm like, all right, so watch YouTube when I'm
And
running.
I'm also selling some gym equipment if you're interested.
Also, save it for me for 2024.
I was gonna say a lot of people had to do that during the
Yeah, I'll come
pandemic,
back. I'll
too.
come back for it.
Because they purchased and now
Yeah,
they're
I was
trying
like,
to
I
get
just
it
remember the
out.
pandemic also made you realize like how functional can I be with the space that I have? Because if I'm not going anywhere
Right.
and I need to do everything in my home, what, like, you know, how do I set up a space to look professional for my Zoom calls when I'm at work? How do I set up a space to work out if I'm going to work out? How do I set up my gaming spot where I'm going to be gaming at? You know, whatever it might be, you have to create your own space.
You remember after the pandemic when people started when things were starting to opening back up, the Goodwill lines were like insane because people were like so in their house, so they were decluttering. So everybody, when things started opening up, when Goodwill opened up, the lines were like around the block status because everybody was just trying to get rid of
Yeah,
all
you
the.
couldn't drop stuff off
No.
anymore at certain points in certain Goodwills because they were like, we're at capacity, we can't take anything anymore. It's crazy.
How about you two? Any traditions that you do in new space?
Well, for me, I don't think I have like a specific tradition. When I did buy my house the first time when I moved in there, I did get some sage from the native coordinator that I used to work with, because she's like, here, so you can like sage your house. And then I also got in the habit of doing like every Saturday cuando limpiaba mi casa, I would like pasaba palo santo, like you burn it and then it releases some like para this to attract buenas vibras and to cleanse the spirit. So I would light that up for some time, and I kind of stopped doing that. Maybe I need to do it again to bring me in the good
Like
vibes.
incense candles?
What's that?
Like incense candles?
No, it's a palo. It's a
Oh.
palo santo.
Okay.
You light it up and it smells kind of like it has like a citrusy, and then you just light it for a little bit, and then it starts releasing.
It does give me incense vibes. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's saintly. For those of us that don't speak Spanish, santo is saint.
For me, yeah, I do a lot of cleaning too. Like it's like instinctual. Like open the windows. The last place I moved in when I was still living with my mother, opened all the windows. We didn't really like need to like sweep too much, but I swept, and then I vacuumed like the whole house, like while my mom was at work. I don't even know why. Like every time I move into a new spot before we like start unboxing, like everything has to be vacuumed. Everything's got to be like clean.
That's a good opportunity.
And like airing everything out, and then my mother never really like believed in like just stuff like that. So I just use candles. Like I literally just like have like a fresh smell, and that would kind of help out a bit. Like we had these kind of, I forgot where they were from, but they were like these super, they smell like evergreen, smell like just like fruits, stuff like that. So like when she would come home after, I don't know why, like it was like I couldn't rest until like I've cleaned everything and it smelled nice. And then we would unpack as soon as she got home, or as soon as like she was ready, or like had to do whatever. So then we would like unpack, and then so just like cleaning, unpacking, and then kind of like a little bit of decluttering, throwing away anything that we packed that we didn't actually need, or getting rid of it, or selling it, or giving it away. And then just like, yeah, trying to find the flow with a new space. That was really my biggest thing for my rooms. That I like, whichever one like that I'm gonna be in the most, like I have to like make sure that the flow makes the most sense. Mom was like, let's put this here, and I'm like, you can put it there, and then I'll move it to wherever, like when she's gone.
Like once it's functional.
Yeah, and then like everything for me is like it's functional, and it also has to be like, it has to be welcoming, so everyone else can also be in there. Because I like to have like friends over. I like everyone to be able to like a very welcoming space for everybody to like sit around. So like the chair set up, like the couch is set up, like it's very open, and then it's like almost inspires like conversation, because like you're either facing somebody or you're like close to somebody, so like there's either going to be conversation or closeness. That's something that I always strive for whenever I would like put like, because I had to lift everything heavy, so the couches, like any chairs, like they're all very like almost like this, like they're very community like driven. They're very like I tried to push for like closeness and like conversation. That was my biggest thing. So it was a lot of like flow and a lot of like almost like, and there had to be some sort of natural light if I could get that in somehow. So like put it closer to a window, or like have a window always stay kind of like accessible and not blocked. So that was my big thing, was I liked very open and natural lit spaces when it came to like community. But for my room, I like the dark LED lights. Like I'm basically like in a freaking cave, like, because that's just like, for me, that's more of like when I'm alone, just ready to sleep, you know.
Well, hopefully you got some great ideas for your new space. Yeah. You will be missed here at Si Se Puede Academy and up here in Seattle. But we're wishing you nothing but the best now on your new adventure. Congratulations again on your GED passing.
Thank you.
Coming into the new space, new chapters, new phases. So nothing but positive vibes from us over here.
Thank you.
Expect the Where Are They Now episode maybe in a few months.
Where Are They Now?
So
Zoom edition.
Whenever you can.
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah.
And thanks for joining us here on Molcajete Flowers on our Nomadsland episode.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Si Se Puede Academy is a youth education and empowerment program offered by El Centro de la Raza, a community organization. Si Se Puede Academy aims to support and inspire young people to achieve academic success, develop leadership skills, and become positive contributors to their communities, focusing on promoting cultural pride and fostering a sense of community among its participants. The program provides a range of educational services and activities designed to empower students and promote their personal academic growth. For the most up-to-date information on the program, I recommend visiting El Centro de la Raza's official website or following us on Instagram, ECDLR_Si Se Puede Academy. Once again, ECDLR_Si Se Puede Academy.